Hi, I'm honored to have Mr. Amit Kumar Jain with us today. Mr. Amit is Vice President, Precision Medicine at Veronix, Boston, USA. He's with me to discuss the landscape of precision medicine in present day healthcare. Welcome, Mr. Amit.
Thank you, Manisha. It's glad to be here.
Okay, so to begin with, could you share your perspective on how pharmaceutical companies are developing drugs that specifically target genetic correctors of certain diseases?
Sure. This is a very kind of wide question, and then definitely pharmaceutical companies are um, uh, utilizing precision medicine approach to develop drugs targeting genetic characterization, etc. The way, if you look back like 10, 15 years ago, the biomarker testing, I would call it a broader term,
Yeah,
was not very well established.
yeah.
But now, 15 years fast forward, you see more than 70 to 80% of the pharma company's pipeline is using one or other type of biomarker-based diagnostic testing. So that's the scenario, and it will keep going up. So how they do it, there are different approaches of doing that. Gene therapy is one, wherein they use like if you look at the clinical trial data, like there's a lot of AAV9, AAV5 based drugs being developed. There are RNA interface, wherein there's a small piece of RNA which basically is interfering the protein production. There are companies who are doing it. There's a drug which is already in the market from Alnylam. mRNA, we all know, this is it's basically, and then earlier they were in vaccine, COVID vaccine, we all know, but I think they are working on a precision medicine as well. Well, actually, they are calling it personalized medicine, wherein they are going to be treating based on individuals' genetic characterization. So I think that's another one. Based on how technology advancement happens and how they are able to help improve the patient lives, you will see more and more application and precision type medicine type of approach in near future.
Yeah, that's right. I think biomarkers are playing crucial role. So
Yeah.
my next question is, of course, based on that. So what do you think biomarkers play a role in identification of, diseases as well as in their diagnosis, prognosis, and selection of treatment?
Yeah, a very crucial role, I would say, because the core to a precision medicine, if we are talking about this, is biomarker testing.
Yeah.
So, the way I see it in a simple, in a layman's language is, if a drug utilizes any type of biomarker testing or diagnostic testing, that becomes precision, because now you are directing it towards a specific subset of patient population
Correct.
or intended use population. So there are different, I would say, application at different time point in patient journey. You could say, like early detection, there are a lot of multi-cancer early detection happening nowadays,
Yeah.
which basically is uh, it's very important and critical in because if you want to identify disease like cancer, and it's not just cancer, like any other disease state as well. All these are bad disease. Disease is not a good term, but I think the most advancement happens in cancer, and it's happening in cancer. So I would say multi-cancer early detection is one, wherein you basically identify if a particular patient has a likelihood of developing the cancer or any disease. I would call in a general term disease. And then you do the diagnosis of the disease, wherein it's like differentiating different diseases, whether you have um, lung cancer, or you have breast cancer, or you have a gastric. And then within that also, like uh, you want to confirm what type of tumor you have based on based on different mutation. Like for example, EGFR, like we have exon 20 nowadays. Like so, and then MET exon 14. So these are like one different ones wherein you identify a disease first,
Yeah.
and then you basically recharacterize it to make it more personalized, and
Yeah.
then therapy decision making. Like we have PDL1, like it gives you, it's a predictive, and then we have HER2, which has been there for almost 25 years now. So it's, you see, like what I am seeing a pattern is it's moving. Definitely there's a lot of advancement happening in technology space, later side of patient journey, wherein we have predictive type of precision medicine and biomarker application with the PDL1, with the EGFRs, with the HER2s. I think it's more crucial to move it towards the early and upstream in a patient journey, wherein you do a lot of screening, and there are a lot of screening assays, do multi early detection of the disease
Correct.
or likelihood of developing that. Once we are able to predict that,
Yes.
then I think it will be really helpful in preventing the disease
Yes.
and also reducing the healthcare burden. So this is what. But again, I think I think I gave you a very long answer, but it's the biomarker play a very crucial role in precision medicine, and this is definitely helping, and it will keep on improving. Again, depends on how innovative technologies are coming. Definitely, they are going to be supporting this.
Yes, definitely. So we should prevent the disease. That should be our motto, right? S-
Yeah.
How crucial do you think is integration of large data sets, including the genomic data, clinical records? They have become in the landscape of precision medicine.
Um, um, so the way I think this is connected, and I would just, for example, we talked about biomarker application in precision medicine as a part of your last question.
Yes.
Um, this is all related and based on advancement in technology, I would call it, and all the innovations are coming in.
Correct.
It is very important. So integration of large data set could be seen in a different way. The way we have seen the direct application um, is uh, design smart clinical trials.
Okay.
Wherein like you have a data set, well, especially genomic data set. You do a lot of data analysis, and then identify patients who might be eligible for a particular clinical trial. That's one thing. Like then another one is, uh, for example, um, uh, the clinical trial. Uh, so doing a lot of access to um, electronic health records. Like when we talk about genomic, it's not just genomic testing. I think it's more genomic data set is definitely part of it, but the way like you have access to the data, you do a lot of data analysis on that, and then that helps you kind of understand the patterns, and to create or enable the personalized treatment and precision medicine and targeted therapy. So and it will also help optimizing the drug development, because once you have integration of a type of genomic a data set, you could actually, and once you can predict the outcome of a certain set of individuals. I think that helps you kind of um, design the drug or repurpose a particular type of drug towards that intended population. So I see it's like hand in hand, wherein, and as we are again, you will see me using a lot of every time, like advancement in technology, innovation, and all, because this is what happened in the last 10 years. So, there was no NGS, there was no big data, there
Yes.
were no flat iron type of companies. Like if you look at, especially in the US landscape, there were no, like, foundation medicine was there, but I think where they are today, what they were 10 years ago, it's a big difference. Guardant Health, Caris, Neogenomics, Tempus Lab. They're all companies enabling the generation and integration of genomic type of data into the landscape of precision medicine.
Exactly. And I think artificial intelligence is also playing a lot of role. So my next question is based on that, that in what ways do you think that artificial intelligence and machine learning contribute to the analysis of vast data set and help in identification of pattern and prediction of certain outcomes?
Yeah, so I think it's related to genomic data. I think wherein you generate the data, and then you use these type of tools like artificial intelligence or machine learning to do the big data analysis. The name of the company that I mentioned, almost all of them they use
Yeah,
AI
very good. Yeah.
to basically do a lot of big data analysis, predicting the patterns, and even there, like if you look at their report, there's an element of AI into their algorithms, which are basically doing a lot of next generation data sequence analysis, and then identifying pattern, identifying whether a particular patient has a particular type of mutation or biomarker positivity. The another piece I would say is AI is like we are seeing a lot in digital pathology. Like if you look at it, like earlier slide scanning is happening, but then everything else was manual. But nowadays, like companies like Path AI or Page AI, especially in the US, and definitely I can tell like it is going to go and spread across the globe in terms of innovation and adoption. But I think it's a good proof of principle concept. And then um, Page AI has actually they have a FDA clearance of one of their algorithms. So digital pathology, I see a big application of AI. It's already there.
Yes.
We are also seeing a lot of AI application, especially in image analysis, in NASH and a lot of uh, methodologies. So, as a supplement or additive tool, they are it's going to stay. It's going to go up, improve. So, and then we are seeing a lot of pharmaceutical companies are also using AI to capture clinical trial data, especially in a rare disease or at home type of data collection mode, especially neurological or musculoskeletal related disease, wherein they need to capture some of the musculoskeletal or motor related functions, and then they capture the data, and then they use AI applications to predict, like to improve the patient experience. That's one thing. I would call to improve the overall clinical trial experience, and that basically and then implement that into real life. Definitely, AI is already we are seeing the success with digital pathology and some of the application into imaging. And then I think and then in data we're already seeing it here. And then the big one is electronic health record, as I mentioned, as a part of understanding how the treatment and then diagnosis could be analyzed together, and then understand the pattern to improve the patient treatment decisions and ultimately the health of the patient. So,
Right. Right.
yeah.
So
Sorry, it was a long answer, but I was just collecting my
that's
thoughts.
really insightful. So my last question is, how can healthcare system adapt to implement and integrate precision medicine, overcoming all the challenges associated with it?
Yeah. So the way we see, like, definitely there are gaps. So, when there are new innovations, um, it takes time in adopting it. The way what we have experienced is in healthcare, there are practice gaps, we call it, wherein if there is a new biomarker test, and I'll explain this with the perspective or keeping the biomarker test or diagnostic test into the consideration. So um, the way it is like, how do we create environment of collaboration, right?
Yes.
How we create, like, identify, if we look at precision medicine stakeholders, who are the major stakeholders? We have a doctor who prescribes the test. We have a lab who basically runs the test. And then we have a payer who basically makes the payment decision. Right now, again, that the payment part differs in different markets based on how the payment system is set up. And then we have a pharma company who is basically developing and commercializing drugs for that. And then there's a diagnostic company who is manufacturing and developing the diagnostic test. But the core stakeholders are clinician, and then lab,
Yeah.
and then the payer, right? So there needs to be a good understanding of the importance of the diagnostic testing between the clinician. Clinician needs to know that the
Yes.
test is available. Then
Yes.
only they can order. And then once, if the test is available, they
Yeah.
need to have a confidence in the test, whether the test has established the clinical validity, clinical utility. Like, they should be confident, right?
Yeah.
For the lab, they need to be able to adopt the test, and the
Yes.
only way they will adopt the test when a doctor will prescribe the test, right? But again, that's not sufficient for them to adopt the test.
Yeah.
It needs to work with their lab economies as well, right? So they need to be able to make some profit, right? So that becomes another one. So one thing is establish enable collaboration between the stakeholders, and that basically, and there are a lot of silos. So once you enable collaboration, that silo will break down. There's a big piece, education. Like, you need to educate the stakeholders. Like, what is the why testing is important, why this particular biomarker test is critical in this disease state. So
Yeah.
that is very important for a doctor, and then for a lab to basically why they should do the test. Like, what are the logistics and operations to run the test, and then that you led that testing. So this is nothing new to you, but I think these two are crucial. And then creating information sharing platform wherein, you could educate each other from different resources. These are being done in very silos. That is another example that you need to basically healthcare system. It will enable healthcare system to adopt precision medicine, and then reimbursement is another different type of, like, big crucial barrier
Yeah.
for adopting the precision medicine, especially precision diagnostic, because if the test is not paid for,
Yeah.
nobody's going to run, no, unless it's paid by somebody. So I think so that part needs to be streamlined, that part needs to be taken care of. So when we talk about uh, the enablement of precision medicine or precision diagnostic by healthcare system, we look into these barriers,
Yeah.
and then those are, we call it like the test authorization. Like, you need to have a clarity on whether the test is regulatory approved or not. Now, I think in Europe, you see, like, IVDR is being implemented. Earlier it was IVDD, now it's going to IVDR. So that change is making a lot of disruptions, but it's for good. Like, every change makes some disruptions. Accuracy of test. The test has to be really accurate. If there's a performance, if the tests are not performing well, then you will basically not be able to identify a patient accurately. You will lose patient, right? And then test market access, another one. Like Ali talked about, reimbursement. You need to establish the reimbursement of the test, and that can only happen when you establish the clinical and non-clinical evidence is based on the stakeholders. And clinical evidence is clinical validity and utility, and non-clinical evidences are like how you can show that implementing your test is going to improve the patient outcome. Like, you have to show health economic benefit, impact of using or your test, and we call it budget impact, right? Then enable the adoption of the test, and then create awareness of the test. So these are, like I just mentioned, but the way we see it, like 5 A or 6 A's.
Yeah.
of implementing precision diagnostics into the healthcare system.
Right, right. And that was so insightful. And thank you so much for this insightful conversation.
Sure.